Is your success, is your significance, is the overall meaning to your life just a happenstance of chance and luck? Or is there an actual formula to it? In this leadership series that I've created for God Dream University, I'm going to teach you 3 layers of leadership that are designed to strengthen you as a leader, strengthen you to become a greater servant, and give you a stronger, more influential impact for the kingdom of God. This is video 1 of the God Dream University Leadership Series. Let's go. Welcome to God Dream University. I am Bob Upkirk, and G, do you exist? Why do we exist? Why do we exist? Actually, I'm not talking to anybody today. We exist to help you start and grow a ministry or become more ministry focused in your everyday life through the work that you are already doing. To that end, before I get into the first leadership video, let me give you a free resources. Boom, right there. Free masterclass I created on how to start and grow a ministry. There's great content in there. Take advantage of it. And if you've ever wondered, how do I get into God Dream University and be mentored on a richer level? There's actually an invitation to be part of that as well. If that's not really of interest to you, no worries. I'm going to keep just giving you free videos, free information, because my goal, my mission, my calling is to encourage you and just help you become everything that God created you to be. And part of that is to strengthen your leadership muscle, your leadership capacity. And we're going to do that in this leadership series. And this one is video number 1. And what we're talking about here is an idea of resiliency. Resiliency. And let me ask you a question. And I'm going to define resiliency versus the antithesis of it. The greatest leaders, the greatest people that are able to really, I think, not only sustain their work, but continue to grow their work are resilient-based versus comfort-seeking. Let me say that again. They are resilient-based versus comfort-seeking. Now, let me tell you a story. We actually had this played out. You have it played out all the time in your life, work life and professional life and personal life. But let me give you an example that happened to us in our ministry. We were leading a mission trip recently, 71 people. And we went to the airport at 3:30, about 3:34 in the morning. And at 4 in the morning, half of our group was going on United, half was going on Delta. The 32 people that were going on United were all ready. Everything was lined up. And then we get the notice for the Delta group that their flights have been canceled. It's 4 a.m. There's 42 people behind me. There's 32 people before me getting ready to go to the gate. And our group is divided, split, and to a certain degree, at least at the counter, it feels a little bit chaotic. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Now, fortunately, I've got great people around me, great people that stand with me, and I have my director of operations there. She was leading the Delta group. I was leading the United group, and I asked her, I said, do you want me to go with our group, or would you feel more comfortable having me stay here? She said, I think you should go with the United group and touch base with me when you land in Denver. So I did that, and she began to work on the flights with the Delta group at that counter. I'm in the air, and I'm concerned, and I'm wondering, and I am praying. I get to Denver, and what I'm wondering is, am I going to have to go from Denver to a different location to meet up with a portion of our group? I call her. She's still back at the home base, and she said, here is the lowdown on what we have. Instead of having our whole group fly out from one location, we are now divided into 3 locations. One group is going to Salt Lake, one is going to Seattle, and one is going to Minneapolis. And so I reacted in maybe some people would think would be a strange way. I started laughing, and she said, I'm glad you're laughing because I'm almost crying. And there's an intensity to the situation. There's a responsibility we hold to the people that are going on our trips in that situation. And I made this statement to her, and I've shared it with several people, and I think it's actually encouraged them. But I said, hey, listen, here's the reality of the day. It's going to be painful. No matter what, this is going to be a painful day. So let's lean into the pain to step into the blessing. Let me say that again. Let's lean into the pain in order to step into the blessing. I said, do I need to be rerouted anywhere? Do I need to go up to Seattle? Do I need to go to Salt Lake? We had decided my best strategy was to fly into San Diego and to get my group into Mexico. and she would handle the facilitation of the different groups in the 3 locations. So I got to San Diego. I helped our other leaders go into Mexico. I stayed in San Diego. We prepared the hotel accommodations for the other 3 groups coming in. And by morning, the entire trip was in full motion. And other than arriving a little bit late, nobody had missed any portion of the trip. And you know what they stepped into? They stepped into one of the most amazing experiences of their life. And all of us, the director of operations, who is just amazing at what she does, and the other leaders who are amazing at working with us, we all leaned into the pain in order to step into the blessing. And my friends, that's what resiliency is. Resiliency doesn't have to be pretty. Resiliency oftentimes is not pretty. A lot of times you are standing in chaos. A lot of times you are standing in pain. A lot of times you are resting in periods of being extremely uncomfortable. But I know, and you know as well, that if you can lean into that rather than cower away from it, you ultimately are going to step into victory. You're going to step into blessing. And let me say the statement again: lean into the pain in order to step into the blessing. In anything, as leaders, we are called to be resilient. Now, I know the question is, well, what are the characteristics of a resilient leader, and what are the characteristics of someone who is comfort-seeking versus resilient-based? Well, a resilient-based person is going to have qualities like this. They're going to live to fight for something. You're willing to fight for something. That's definitely a quality that you see. A resilient-based person is willing to be made uncomfortable. They're willing to be made uncomfortable in order to experience a particular outcome. It could be in working out. They're willing to experience the pain of a workout in order to grow physically. It could be with diet. They're willing to be made uncomfortable by eating things different in order to feel better later. They're willing to be made uncomfortable for the sake of growth. Okay. Another one would be is that change is anticipated. A resilient person is not surprised by change. You know, there's a statement: the only person that likes change is a wet baby. And a lot of times, you know, we don't like change, but a resilient-based person anticipates change and understands that is actually a part of the game. And so we shouldn't be surprised when things happen. You want them to be smaller things as opposed to bigger things. But there will always be things that we need to pivot from. There are always things that we are going to have to orchestrate change and be agents of change through. So it should not surprise us when we have to pivot, when we have to change. It is a part of the game. And the last thing is, I think a resilient-based person has clarity on the future so they can endure the present. You have to have clarity about what the future outcome looks like in order to endure the present pain. So a resilient-based person has clarity on the future to endure the pain of the present. A resilient person loves to fight for what they are doing. A resilient-based person anticipates change and is not surprised by it. A resilient-based person is willing to be made uncomfortable for the sake of growth. Is that you? And even as I read those, I ask myself, is that me? Because in order to serve and to serve well and to lead people well and to develop and nurture and disciple more leaders, we need to be resilient. Resilient-based versus comfort-seeking. Here's what a comfort seeker would be like. They give up easily. They are really not willing to fight. They easily want to give up and stop and not finish or complete something. A comfort seeker lacks clarity, and without that clarity, they are much more likely to stop because they can't see the future of what they are pursuing. There is a sense of entitlement that comfort seekers have, and when things go wrong, they feel like they shouldn't go wrong. They feel like they would be entitled for everything to go right. A comfort seeker will deflect responsibility and place blame on others during those moments of change, during those painful moments. They will cower, they will step away rather than lean in. And I want to encourage you as a leader. Every moment, every time that change comes, every time that adversity comes, every time that there are seasons of uncomfortableness, to lean into that. Why? Because when we lean into the pain, ultimately we will step into the blessing. This matters as leaders. This matters as people who do ministry. This matters as people who lead organizations in general. Do not be surprised by change. It will happen. when that change comes, that honestly, truly is where the grit, where the iron, where the essence of a leader is identified. Now, you could listen to this and you could say, this is a lot of superficial platitude. And it's not. There's a growing body of research that says that the qualities like resiliency, the qualities like awareness, the qualities like clarity and determination actually supersede any test score somebody would get, any class rank anybody would achieve. In fact, they did a study on West Point cadets, and they said that the most successful cadets tested high in grit, determination, and resiliency, more so that they would outperform the other cadets that had higher test scores, higher class ranks, and even higher physical fitness levels. That is crazy, and that tells us that we need to be people. We need to be leaders that lean into the painful moments, lean into adversity, lean into change in order that we would step into the blessing. That's layer number 1 of the leadership series for God Dream University. And let me just ask you, are you resilient? Or are you resilient based, or are you more of a comfort seeker? And if you find that some of the things that I listed on the comfort side are you, let's just transition over to becoming more resilient. Let's find clarity for the future so that we will be able to endure some of those hard moments in the present. Let's understand that change is something that we should anticipate and no longer be surprised by. Let's be willing. Let's truly be willing to be made uncomfortable in order that we may experience growth. And let's fight for the things. Let's truly fight for the things that are meaningful in our lives. That's what great leaders, that's what significant leaders do. And that, my friends, is Leadership Series video numero uno. God bless. I'll see you in the next one. Hey, if you enjoyed this piece of content and felt like there was value in the content provided, or perhaps this information could minister and speak into the lives of other people, maybe even friends that you have, I'm going to ask for your help. Would you please subscribe to this channel so we can join hands together and lead people to become more ministry focused in their lives? Thanks so much. God bless.